Okay, so I've had quite a few requests to review webcams on my channel, and I've always turned them down because I just thought they weren't that interesting. But this one is very, very different. This is the Obsbot Tiny 4K. It's a 4K Ultra HD camera, great quality. This is in natural light at the moment, so I've got windows either side of me. It's a pretty dull day, and I figured I'd do it like that because that's the way a lot of people might be using it. Now, you can make cameras look incredible with the right lighting, but this is just completely natural light. Now, this camera is tracking me, and it's motorized as well. I'm just going to watch out for my microphone cable. And as I move around, I don't have to think too much about it for it to know that it is tracking me. So if I start juggling and move sort of towards the camera, you'll see that it keeps tracking me, it keeps my face in the view, even as I get off to the edge. So if I stand here, I'm right next to my tripod now. If I start moving back around, and if I move down or up, you can see that it tracks me pretty fast. Just move the chair out the way, keep moving, and I can actually go right the way around the back of my laptop and go back to where I started off by the tripod, and you can see that it's still tracking me. So it's pretty much a 360 view. So it could be handy for all sorts of applications. Now what I'll do is switch back over to my Mac camera because it's shocking how different the quality is. So if I click video and FaceTime HD camera, this is my Mac's camera. This is a £1,000 MacBook in natural light. Now the cameras have got a lot better on MacBooks, and some of the reviews have reflected that, but you can see that it's a very, very different quality picture. And there is just no setup to this at all. I'll show it in a minute. There you go, back to the Obsbot. And it really is a great quality camera. It also has a zoom function, so you can zoom in just by holding up one finger like that. And you can also zoom back out again. Or you might have to move back so you're in the frame. Let's have a look at what's in the box. So we've got a user manual, we've got a hard carry case, we've got a USB-A to power cable. We've also got a USB-C to C cable. In the case of my MacBook, that's all I was using to power the camera and also supply data. On the bottom of it, you can see that it has a little 5V 1A input as well as the USB-C. But as I say, I was using USB-C. We also have this little mount, which is magnetic to the bottom of the Obsbot, and I can pop that on top of my monitor. So you can see here, you just clip it over the front, plonk it on top, and you're ready, and you're good to go. And I'm really happy to have another dongle, which is a USB-C to A dongle, and this is really nice and slim. So regular viewers of my channel will know that's great for a Raspberry Pi because there's not a lot of space there. So I'll pop that in my little dongle box. I've just plugged it into my Raspberry Pi running 64-bit Raspberry Pi OS, and I'm using Teams installed with Pi apps. And as you can see, it's working fine. And if I move around, the tracking is working fine as well, even if my hand's in the way. Windows 11, applying updates. I'm using my little Melee mini PC, just plugged in with USB, and let's start up the camera app. And so let's press the Windows key and start typing camera and return. And let's see how quick, yeah, it works it out super quick. And you can see moving around really nicely. And let's try the zoom. Yeah, that's working nicely as well. I'm looking up at the screen because I've got it much higher than the camera, but you would put the camera on top of the screen really. But yeah, working great with Windows as well. No setup at all, no drivers or anything. I've just downloaded Google Flex, which is the new version of Chrome. So if you have a Chromebook, this should all work exactly the same. I don't have a Chromebook, so I'm running this on my little Melee mini PC. So if I tap the camera icon, you can see that I come up on the screen. And if I move around, oh, it's on static at the moment. So if I hold my hand up, yeah, now I can move around, try and keep the camera steady, and it follows me around. And hopefully the microphone's working. So if I say, okay, Google, what's the weather like today? Yeah, it's working. There you go. And I haven't got any speakers connected, so that's why we're not hearing anything. But you can see that it's looked all that up. So yeah, working very nicely on Chromebooks as well. So I figured I'd try it outside with my bike, and it actually tracked me from quite a distance and did work very well. So thanks very much to Obsbot for sending me this camera. It is really, really good. I would definitely be using it in the future, and I would have really liked it in the past for certain things that I used to do, certainly vacuum cleaner videos, which I don't do anymore, but when I used to do those, it would have been really handy. And this movement that it does is so smooth, and also I can't hear it at all. To me it is silent as a machine, and I would have expected it to make some sort of whirring noise or something like that. But let's go to their store and have a look at some of the specs. So things I haven't mentioned: 4K 30 FPS or 1080 60 FPS video capture, 4x digital zoom with HDR, and it also works with all apps, it says here. So if we scroll down, one of the impressive bits was this dancing on here. Yeah, so you can see motion mode. That looks like a particularly good use for this sort of thing. You can see it's coping really well. It's staying zoomed in. It's a very good shot, and one that you wouldn't get with a static camera. Privacy mode, if you tilt the lens straight down, it turns itself off. So then it's not capturing any audio, capturing any video, and you don't need to worry about it. So that's quite a nice feature. There is an app which I need to look at, which is supported by Windows 7, 8 and 10, and also Mac OS as well. I think I'll go with the Windows version as I'm on a Windows computer at the moment. Obsbot TinyCam. Just installing now. So the app has a load of controls. The main screen on the right hand side here, I've just called up the settings, but this is the main screen, and you can see you can control the gimbal. So I can move it around, and I can move it around really quite quick. And again, I can't hear it at all. It is super silent, but there is also a reset function, which I guess brings it back to me. Yes, it does. Preset sounds interesting. So, you know, if I had something on my desk and I was referring to it, I could click on a preset and it would send the camera to the desk, click on another preset and it would send it back to me. So that's impressive. Also, quite a few different things you can add in here. So you have a manual focus that you can use. So if you turn off autofocus, you've got a slider control on here. There is a tracking mode for motion, so that would be interesting. Maybe that's what they use for the dance bit, to make it maybe more active as to how it works, as opposed to being smoother. Oh, it's in a fixed mode now, look. But all the gesture controls can be turned on or off. Screen mode, landscape or portrait. Gimbal initial position. There's all sorts in here. It is a really impressive product. Now, one thing worth mentioning is that in all of this video I haven't used any extra lighting. I've just had the light in the room as is, and obviously lighting is really key to good video quality. But I don't have that sort of setup. I'm just in my lounge. I do have a separate light for certain things, but I've just left it off on this. But it's worth having a look at. Low Doug Tech has done several videos comparing webcams. So if you compare, say, the Logitech Brio to the Tiny 4K, and I won't play his video, but I'll just put a paused picture on the screen. So let's find the bit. Yeah, so something like this. You can see that it is, the HDR definitely makes a difference, and it really does look like a decent quality. So if you've got good lighting, then it's going to make all the difference as well. And you notice this when you know, throughout the pandemic, people have been doing video calls from their home, and some people have just got an amazing setup and it looks great. But yeah, have a look at some of those videos where people are comparing them directly. I haven't done a video comparison on a webcam before, so I don't really have anything to compare it to, but I can see that it looks good to my eyes. The autofocus is pretty quick. It's not as quick as my iPhone to autofocus, but it is pretty quick, and I love the fact that it moves around and tracks things. That's definitely a very nice use case. Anyway, I hope all this helps. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.